Popular wine bar in Washington, D.C. is closed permanently after enduring 5 burglaries in the span of 5 months. The Pursuit became the second restaurant in the space of just a few blocks to shut its doors for good in recent weeks. Let's continue the conversation about the crime in the United States with the host of Nothing But the Truth podcast, criminal defense attorney Bob Bianchi, along with the author of How to Spot a Terrorist Before It's Too Late, former FBI Special Agent John Iannarelli. Bob, want to get to you right now. You look at what some of the crime is in Washington, D.C., even after we've, quote unquote, gotten back to normal after the pandemic and the shutdowns and everything. What's going on here?
But the crime is rising around the country. I was just looking at some statistics that are pretty startling. In D.C. alone, which I recently had an incident in, homicides up since the worst since 2002, over 31%. Carjackings, robberies, 65, 103%. Violent crime up 37%. And the bottom line here is, like in the situation that I dealt with, we were unsafe. We were told to go inside a restaurant. We went inside the restaurant. We were told it wasn't safe to be there, and you leave. So these businesses are closing down. Just on Monday, for example, all major retailers in Washington got together trying to work with city officials to say, look, we don't have things on our shelves. We have things locked up. We're having problems with mob thefts. There's not enough enforcement. There's not enough prosecution. These people are acting at will. And that is the kind of thing that is so deleterious to a community. I can tell you as a former prosecutor, if you can't have businesses in your community operating and you don't have people that feel safe, that law enforcement is going to make arrests and prosecute individuals who are committing crime, businesses leave, infrastructure falls apart, and the people that take it on the chin the worst are the marginalized communities. It's a bad situation, and it needs an aggressive interdiction by law enforcement and aggressive prosecution.
So speaking of those businesses, let's play a soundbite from Adam Kolensky. He's the owner of that wine bar we talked about leading into this segment.
I'm a third-generation Washingtonian, and watching my city fall to pieces. We've worked hard to keep this business afloat, and having 5 break-ins. I mean, the criminals these days are so brazen. There is no recourse for the actions they take.
So, John, this is a segment of Washington, D.C. called 8th Street Northeast. More than a lot of neighborhoods in Washington, this one is probably backsplit as much as any of them have. You know, it seems like it's so quick for some of these neighborhoods to go downhill. What's it take to get them back? The rebuild process seems like it probably takes a lot longer.
It does take a lot longer, Rich. In law enforcement, they use what's called the broken windows theory. Basically, you take care of the small crime to deter people from committing larger crimes. Right now in D.C., they're not enforcing any crime. And as the other guest said, you're not having prosecutions. You got to fight back. We need to make arrests, but when they make those arrests, we need to bring people to justice by having them prosecuted.
Bob, major story last week in D.C. The owner of the NBA's Wizards, the NHL's Washington Capitals, says he's moving across the river. Now, I talked to the company Monumental Sports. They say the crime or the increase in crime was not a major factor in their decision. But, you know, what does it mean when you tie this all together, when they're moving to create a different or better fan experience over the river? I mean, that really, really helps put a downtown district into a death spiral, doesn't it?
Of course. That's exactly what I was mentioning before. I mean, it may not have made a quote-unquote major difference, but it may have made a difference. And the D.C. is going to lose a lot because of that. So it's yet another example of another hit on the chin, if you will, where companies are saying, look, we're a business. We think we can give a better fan experience, have a better opportunity in another place. And the bottom line is, look, I live in an area, it's a beautiful stadiums or whatever, but I'm telling you, it may not make a big difference, but it makes a difference when people are afraid that there is a possibility when you go to see a hockey game or you bring your kids to watch a basketball game that there could be a violent encounter. We try not to think about those things, but you can't tell me when they say it's not a major difference. I think that that's political talk. I think it is a significant thing in their mind, plus they have better opportunities over there. So once again, it's the slippery slope of what happens when you don't have significant interdiction, a safe community where people can go and enjoy something like that, go out afterwards, buy hot dogs, buy hamburgers, buy French fries, buy some soft drinks. That is what makes a community vibrant.
Bob Bianchi, John Iannarelli, thanks so much for joining us this evening. Really appreciate it.